everybody, in today's video we are going to be talking about how to get injured as an athlete. So prior to jumping into today's video, I do want to touch on the fact that some of the best ways to learn as an athlete is actually to first learn what not to do. I think of so many times when I was learning how to throw a football, learning how to get out of blocks, getting over a hurdle on the track, whatever it was, there's so many ways to build bad habits when you first learn something complex. And so it's so helpful to actually learn what not to do first. And then from there, as you're learning what to do, you already know and you're very aware of let's not build these habits so that we can focus on building the habits we want to. Kind of the horse blinders per se. So this is the approach I take in this video and I hope you find it valuable. So let's jump right in. Number one key to getting injured is to go to bed late. The body has so many unique healing processes that it does while sleeping that it cannot do while staying awake or even relaxing on the couch for that matter. So while your body's in deep sleep, it can clear toxins, release hormones, heal tissue in ways that it cannot do while staying awake. And so it's so important to shoot for 8 to 10 hours of sleep because I'm gonna actually talk about two studies that I'm gonna place right here. The first one shows that we're comparing a night of 8 hours of sleep versus a night of 4 hours of sleep. The person that got 4 hours of sleep in this study or this control group had a 200% increased risk of injury. That's quite a bit. Second article that I'm going to show you, scientific journal, under 8 hours of sleep increases your risk of injury by upwards of 64%. So these are big numbers. I hope they kind of threaten you in a sense because sleep is really the foundation of great recovery. And you look at the best athletes in the world. Recently just read the biography of Tom Brady. You look at his lifestyle. This dude's sleeping like 9 to 12 hours a day. And it's so important that, you look at his career, how well he did and how healthy he is even today out of the NFL. That guy stayed healthy, really didn't struggle with a lot of injuries. And so look at some of the greatest athletes in the world and they'll say sleep is king, sleep is central, and sleep is arguably the most important key to staying injury free. So number two, key to getting injured is to undereat and undereat chronically. What I'm talking about is not undereating in a meal or skipping a meal or getting a small dinner one night or even going on a trip for 3 days and not having a lot of food. What I'm talking about is a chronic period, weeks, or even months of undereating calories. And so as an aerobic athlete myself, it was really important to discover how much energy am I burning because I need to know how much calories to get in my body. Obviously, having a healthy, nutritious diet is really important, but also getting enough energy is important. If you're not getting enough energy, calories, same word, your body's gonna struggle with fatigue, you're gonna struggle with bone density, with hormone issues, you're gonna have trouble falling asleep. I remember going through periods of this in college where I was running a lot, not eating enough for a long period of time, not 1 day, not 2 days, not 3 days or a week, but weeks and months, and these things came about. The risk of injury just shoots up, and your body's a lot smarter than you think it is, and it'll often tell you what's going on. And so you'll feel fatigue, you'll feel that immune system decrease, maybe you're getting sick more often, maybe you're going to the doctor, you run into stress fractures. All of those things can be signs of undereating in a chronic period of time. So number two is chronically undereating. Number three is to never warm up. Think of a car that's sitting out in a parking lot when it's 20 degrees. If it was your nice car that you saved money for, you're not gonna run out the door, stick the key in, turn it on, and just put it in reverse in literally half a second and try to hit the gas and go down the road, right? Anybody that lives in cold climates, as I moved into a colder climate this year, know that when you turn your car on when it's 5, 10, 15 degrees, you wanna be smart, right? You don't wanna just crank it on and hit the gas and try to, get to the freeway as fast as possible. Same thing with your body. When your body is not warmed up and you try to force a high amount of weight or a sprint or any kind of athletic sport specific exercise or whatever it is on a body that is cold, you're going to put a lot of stress on your muscles, on your tendons, on your central nervous system for that matter. And so I'm going to put a study right here that shows the importance of warming up. Obviously, whether it's in the weight room, whether you're out on the track, football, golf, whatever it is, there's 600 muscles in the human body. And if you just think you can turn the engine on and hit the gas right away, you're gonna potentially run into injury quickly. And so it's so important to find a great warm up and a great just routine for your sport, for specifically your body's muscles that you're using most, and slowly let that heart rate build up. And then we're gonna create one more just pillar. Number 4 is being chronically stressed. In other words, stress management, kind of the same word. And so being chronically stressed actually increases cortisol in your body. And cortisol is a stress hormone that is good in small doses and good in an acute matter, but a chronic form of stress, a chronic form of cortisol is not good. And so when you are working, when you're doing school, when you have relationships, there's so many things that go on in your life, whether you're in high school, college, post-collegiate, professional, whatever it is so important to find healthy relationships, build healthy relationships, have a healthy relationship with work, have a healthy relationship with school, not drive yourself into the ground in these areas, and not sacrifice in such a way that you're staying up super late, right? Going back to number 1, whatever it is, it's so important to realize that a lot of these things are interconnected. And so if you're chronically stressed from just high levels of cortisol, whether you have stressful teachers, stressful bosses, stressful friends, whatever kind of relationships you're in, it's really important to manage these well and to take healthier approaches to rebuild whatever it is. In any case, stress outside of athletics is more just fuel on the fire, right? We're creating small fires every single day with our body as we go into the weight room, as we go onto the track, as we go to the dugout, or whatever it is, baseball, football, soccer, wherever kind of sport you're in, you're creating small fires each day. And as we just continue to talk about this, if you're going to bed late, not eating enough, continuing to not warm up well, and all this kind of stuff, you're just pouring excess gasoline on that small fire. Well, that small fire is good. We need to have a healthy relationship with a lot of these things. So number 4 is to continue to just manage stress outside, stress management. Number 5 is increasing volume too quickly. This can take the form of running. This can take the form of swinging, throwing, shooting, lifting weights, whatever it is. There's a frequency that your body is used to. And while it's important to always push that frequency and build a progressive overload in your programming, shooting that up too high is potentially dangerous in terms of injury risk. And so as a distance runner, if I just try to increase my mileage by 25% each week from a buildup, there's a good chance if I've taken a long period of time off or I've come off an injury that I'm going to run into another injury. So it's really important, as I'm going to show a study right here, that increasing frequency is done in a wise manner. And I think one thing to note is that we're not training or building or whatever it is as an athlete off of emotion. So for a runner like me who's experienced running high, who just loves to grind as many athletes do, we need to manage our emotions well and be self-controlled to not go in the weight room and just try to hammer ourselves or grind our body into a pulp, whether that's in the weight room, on the track, swinging or shooting or throwing or whatever it is. It's so important to manage volume and intensity in a wise manner. Last but not least is such an important one, and that is neglecting strength training. Neglecting strength training is a great way to get injured because you have 600 muscles in your body, and whatever sport you're doing, you're using a key probably dozen or couple dozen worth of muscles. And if you're not managing the other muscles well, you can build muscle imbalances, which are putting stress on other areas of your body. And so as a runner, as I ran into injuries over periods of time, I realized like pain in my calves might not be a calf injury. It might be some weak tendons in my feet or hip flexor, glutes, whatever it is. Your body is interconnected. We're not a bunch of separate pieces. And so it's so important to not neglect strength training, right? And neglecting strength training is a great way to get injured. So as I'm going to show a study right here, we see a big drop in injury risk when we are increasing strength, right? When we're adding strength into our daily schedule, whether that's compound lifts, whatever matter that is, even from body weight to compound, barbells, dumbbells, whatever it is, it's so important to include strength training in your program to reduce injury risk.